Okay, I think we're live. I'm not seeing the video stream yet. Just say I can hear you in the chat if you're able to hear me. Because for some reason I'm not seeing the video stream yet, but it says I'm live. Okay, test, test, test. Test, test, test. Hello, hello. Okay, test, test, test. Okay, we're good. So, welcome to another Friday live stream. I do this every week where it's open to the public. You can bring your questions about Descript and I'll help you work through anything you're stuck on, or if you want to ask me about a workflow, you want to talk about YouTube, whatever you want, that's what this is for. And I have a little whiteboard over here with some questions that I've gotten throughout the week. So I'm going to go through those. But first, while I'm waiting for people to join and waiting for your questions to come in, I'm going to show you, this is Descript's changelog, and you can find it at feedback.descript.com. And this is where they post what's new in their latest versions as they release them. So earlier this week, we had a really big update with a lot of new functionality to Descript, and that was version 96. And that came out August 14th, so that was, 2 days ago? The important takeaway is that you can now import directly from Descript. Hold on, I'm getting an error message on YouTube. Let me know in the chat if you can't hear me. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. But the important thing is you can link your Descript account to your Zoom account. And what this allows you to do is take the cloud recordings from Zoom and then put that into Descript seamlessly. And you could do this before. You could download your Zoom recording and then upload it to Descript. That worked. The problem with that was that Zoom limits you to one track, one recording. So when you're recording an interview, you really want to have them in two different tracks to do it right, because then you can edit one of the speakers out if they're talking over each other. You can, if they have different mics, the volumes are different, things like that, you can equalize those, balance those out. There's just a lot more functionality, or a lot more control that you get when you have separate tracks for each guest on a podcast. So anyways, that's all to say, now you can do that. You can import this from Zoom, you can get those separate tracks, it'll bring it in as a sequence, and then you can edit it with a lot more control from there. So that's what that's telling us. We've got the import from Zoom. You can also monitor your AI usage. And what this is referring to is Descript now limits how much AI features you can use per month, depending on the plan that you have. So if you're on, and I don't know the numbers offhand, but a certain number of limits, certain number of usages per month for each of the different AI functions. And until now, you had no idea, no way to track that. But now if you go into your settings, you go to usage, then you can see how many of your AI usages you've used. And it also tells you how many days until your billing date. So it'll say that right at the top. Edit for clarity has been changed a little bit. Before it was just an all or nothing, like you just applied it or you didn't. But now you can change the intensity of it. So there's light, medium, and heavy. And then what that's going to do is it's looking for retakes, it's looking for filler words, it's looking for all different types of things that it suggests you cut out of your script, using AI, of course, to do that. And then this didn't come out yet, but this is the big news, is that they have Descript rooms. And what this is going to be is they're going to take the Squadcast and integrate it into the Descript app itself. So no longer will you have to go to squadcast.fm to set up and join your calls and all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to do it all from Descript itself, from the app. And it's just going to be a lot more closely built in. And they're saying they're putting a ton of time into making it work well and all that. So I expect big things. I think this is going to be a really big upgrade for podcasters in particular. And flattened tracks This is where if you have a project that has a bunch of different layers, then that allows you to combine it into one and flatten it into one layer, and then it just makes it a not smaller in terms of size, but it's simpler. It's just one layer. So then the problem is you can't then edit any layer. Like let's say it's a text layer, it gets rendered into the video itself, so you can no longer edit that text layer. Point is, that's not a new feature, but it used to take a long time to run, and it didn't run on the web. Now it does, and they're saying it's a lot faster and includes a progress meter, so you can tell how long that's taking. This used to take ridiculously long. Like a 5-minute video, you'd flatten it, it would take 15 minutes or 20 minutes to run through that. Now this one's pretty big. Regenerate with sequences. So regenerate, if you don't know, is the functionality that will fix a word. Like let's say you trailed off at the end of a sentence and it was barely audible, and the AI was able to pick it up, but to the human ear, it's not really understandable. You could highlight it, click regenerate, and it would use the voice of that person speaking. You didn't have to train it, do an AI speaker training in order to use this, and it would replicate that voice and then fix that word to make it sound better. If it was a single track, it would simply put the video, the existing video, over the sound, the newly generated sound, and it would just look pretty smooth in the video when it worked well. Problem was, if you tried to do that on a sequence, it would put a black space over the regenerated sound. So it would just be like, it would go from your video, say the regenerated word with a black, the video component of it would just be black. So no longer, that is now going to work as you would expect it to, and as it works on a single file. There's a couple minor editor updates, quality of life improvements, things like that, and then a normal array of bug fixes. I won't go into all those unless you want me to, but that's it for the update. And then there's been a couple patches since. I highly recommend you get those, because usually as soon as the latest version hits the public, all these errors pop up, and then they usually pretty quickly can fix those. So that's what those are. I recommend you just hit the update button whenever you get the opportunity. So that's the news. Let me know if you have any questions about that or questions about anything else. We can go in that direction. Otherwise, I'm going to go off my list here. And so the first thing is, let's talk about this Zoom integration. So when you have a brand new composition like this, there's this brand new button that says import from Zoom. And when you click on that, and I've already set up my integration, but if you hadn't, then it'll prompt you, it'll open up Zoom in another browser window. And by the way, I'm on the web.descript.com, so this is the web version of Descript, not the desktop app. But if you haven't set up this integration yet, it'll open up zoom.us, it'll ask you to log in, ask you to link your grant permissions from your Descript account to Zoom and vice versa. Once you do that, then when you click that import from Zoom button, you'll get this window. And these are all of your cloud recordings that are associated with your Zoom account. And so what you can do is simply select one of these. Like, I'll just take this one, why not? And you can see there's a date with it, the name of the meeting, and how long it was. This one's only 5 seconds long. Yeah, that's fine, I'll use this one. And then, yeah, you select it and hit import. And I think this video is just a test with just me, but let me see what we get here. And it was super short, so it's importing like almost immediately. Yeah, there we go, it's only 5 seconds. But yeah, it'll import as many speakers as you have. I don't know, there must be a limit, because in Zoom meetings you can have hundreds of people, but I'm assuming most people are just gonna have 2 speakers, and that's gonna be all. And then, let's see what it came up with here. It's gonna transcribe it, just like it normally would, bringing in any type of file. It automatically makes the composition name the name of that Zoom meeting, so whatever it took from Zoom itself, it just uses that name. Ask me to identify speakers, does the speaker detection wizard. And let's see if it's actually gonna do it. It looks kind of frozen. I don't think it's gonna work right there. But, and it's still loading, I can see that spinning bar. So I'll just give this a moment. Let me know if you have any questions about Zoom or any like edge cases, like weird things that you're not sure if it's gonna work. I haven't thoroughly tested this to know if there's gonna be some weird situations that don't work. But in my meeting or my initial impression, it's been extremely impressive. Like the the linking process is super easy, super intuitive. They just walk you through it. And then the importing part is super reliable, with the exception of maybe right now, something seems to be taking a long time. Let's see what's going on here if I look at my projects. Um, so the file is in there. And so here's what I'm talking about. You have, in this case, I don't think I had a guest. I think this video I pulled in was just me. But what it did is it broke the audio and the video apart and then put those into a sequence where there'll be separate layers. And then it would do the same thing. If you had guests, it would just automatically build that sequence for you. And it makes it a lot better for editing than if it was just a single file like we used to get from Zoom. So that's the Zoom integration. It doesn't seem to be loading right now. It's still processing. So I'll let that continue running. Let me know if you have any questions and we can go into it. The next thing on my list is about how to add music to Zoom. And let me show that. Let's try this again with a different Zoom file. So again, it's import from Zoom. And then we're gonna find our, the problem is I don't have anything like, these are all client calls, so I don't wanna intrude on anyone's privacy and pull up a video. You know what? Sorry, I don't have a good example ready to go, so I'm not going to show that. But the next thing I was asked was adding music across all scenes. So how to do that. So let's go back to my drive here. I got all my demonstration projects, so I'm just going to pull up one like this. Why not? Demo interview. And when you add music, it's going to well, I'll show you what happens. So, and let's see, we might already have music in here. I can see a little music note on the transcript that lets me know that there is some sound already added. It could just be a sound effect, but let's see. I'm going to expand my, okay, it is music right there. But I'm going to delete that just to show you as if we're starting from scratch. And sorry, this is running super slow, so it's kind of hard to do much here. But bear with me. Okay, so I'll go to music, and then I won't go into adding the music unless you want me to, but I'm going to assume you're familiar with how that works. You can just select one of these. I'll hit the plus button, and I'm going to zoom out here. Zoom, scroll up or down to zoom in or out, and it's going to be Command and Scroll on a Windows, but I'm on a Mac. And in audio, so I'll just give this a moment to finish loading there. Okay, there we go. It automatically, it added it at the point where my play was, the blue line on my timeline. And then it adds it and goes until that song ends. So this is a 2-minute, 26-second song, and I'm adding it to a 3-minute, 56-second video. So what I can do is slide that left and right to put this layer wherever I want. It's this green layer. And then if I want that song to keep playing for the remainder of the video, what I can do is go to Layer, and right here where it says Once, I can change that to say Loop. And look at that. Now that song, as soon as it ends, it's going to start again. It's going to keep playing. And it's going to use the same volume level that I originally set. So by default, it's at 0 plus 0.0 decibels, but I could change that to +5 to make it louder, and I can make it negative. Typically for background music, I'll use like -20 to -25. It's about right. So there's -25, and be quite aware here the speaker, the primary subject of the video, with a nice soft, gentle background music. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, when you add the music, it's going to default to filling out the entire video. And if you want it, or for the length of the rest of that soundtrack, if you want it to fill out the rest of the video, then go to layer with it selected and then make it loop instead of playing once. Let me know if there's any questions about that. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to my next topic. And that was a question from Ian, so thank you, Ian, for that. Regenerating on a sequence was the next topic on my agenda. So to regenerate on a, and that's one of the features that I told you about. Until now, you haven't been able to do that. But okay, I'm gonna go to this one. So let's open that up. And again, this one's the sequences. I've done a lot of videos of them. It's an essential feature for creating podcasts. And dang it, I always do this. This example is not a good one to show because it's not. Oh, it is a sequence, I think. Let's see here. So to edit a sequence, you just click on the layer like you normally would and then hit edit sequence. And my computer's slow. There we go. So I have 2 layers here. And it's not doing it. Or is it? Hang on. You know what? I'm going to pull in a new video with a sequence. Show you how this will work. Or I think I had one on here. Oh, maybe here, regenerate demo. Maybe this was it. Let's see if this is sense. Okay, okay, perfect. This is a perfect example. It doesn't have to be 2 speakers like in a podcast. It could just be you and your screen recording like I have here. So inside of this sequence, that top layer, the one that I have highlighted in blue right now, that is me. It's a video of my webcam and my microphone. And then below that is my second layer in the sequence, which is my screen recording. It's just a shot of my screen. So what I'm gonna do is, let's say that, well, I can select anything. Yada, 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 right there. I'm gonna select that. I'll hit replace. And then there's this regenerate option. So that's what's gonna trigger the regenerate feature. And let me play this for you first, original, and then we'll listen to how it sounds once it's been regenerated. And sorry, this is not loading. You see that spinning play button? It hasn't processed this video yet. So let me just give this a moment and let's see what it does. I think it's because I'm running streaming and running OBS and I have all the software going. It's not liking it. It's a lot of processing. So I'll come to that in a moment. So regenerate, until now, I haven't used it much. I find that the results were not good. The idea is brilliant. And if it worked well, I guess my biggest problem is not necessarily the quality of the result, but hey Chris, thanks for joining. Yeah, you're one of our stars today. So the problem is not the quality of the result, but it's that it puts the black screen over as a new layer. And so that's just that's unusable for me when I'm showing a tutorial or something. And if you had an interview. But what it's going to do now is just take the exact clip of the video, the portion of the video that's being regenerated, and pop it in as a new layer. And then that'll just play with over the part that's been regenerated, the audio that's been regenerated. So I don't know what to do other than the load. Chris, how's it going? Any questions? Have you been using Descript lately? Any success with your projects, your PDFs? Let me know. Let me refresh this page. I got 35 seconds of video. Something went wrong when trying to record. That's not really this. Okay, there we go. Did a refresh. Sometimes those are all you need to do. Okay, so the words yada yada. So the way regenerate works is you select that. What it do, because yada yada is not a real English word, so it might do something unpredictable here. But let me play this before I regenerate it, and Let me know if you can't hear this through the live stream. 3 pieces of gear to get yada yada yada. Okay, I'll select that. I'll hit replace. I'll hit regenerate. And now I put the layers above. Put the video. Okay, I'm saying thanks, let me see. Is it? Let's see. I'll refresh the stream. Let me see if that. How did I do this before? Settings. Stream. Sorry. Let's see here. You know what? I'm gonna switch my camera. Okay, let's see if this fixes it. You able to see it in a second? Let's see. It's probably gonna be a delay. Oh my god. Now Google wants to do a verification. Hang on. Sorry everyone. For anyone that's still hanging on here. I appreciate you. Let me see here. Google thinks I'm... Okay. Okay, I think we're back. Let me know if I'm not. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. I switched cameras. Something was wrong with my primary. Okay, so you can see these two videos, or two layers rather. what it does is it creates a AI version of the original audio, and then using my voice, the voice that I've used in this project up until now, and then it puts that along with the 2 layers of video, so the video of my webcam and the video of the screen recording as new layers. And then let's listen to what it sounds like. 3 pieces of gear to get yada yada yada, and you could. So not bad. It sounds pretty similar to the original. So the time where you would use that is if you had a part where, like, let's say you're trailed off and the words that you said were barely audible, then you could regenerate it and it would use your voice and try to recreate that sound to make it just sound better. That's the idea with regenerate. Or maybe there was like a loud noise, like a bang in the background, or traffic honking or something. You could regenerate over that and it would just help get rid of that noise in the background. That's if you're not using studio sound, or studio sound wasn't working well or something like that. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And then, okay, so one thing I wanted to show you, this was another question that came up throughout the week. Somebody was asking how to like make a short portrait mode video for YouTube Shorts or TikTok around the data that they put on the side, the buttons and things like that. Oh, yeah, in the chat someone says, I used the translate into Spanish last night. That is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining, Dane. Yeah, the translate feature, if you haven't done it yet, it's really awesome. And what I've been doing with it is I've taken my top videos, like the most viewed videos, translated them into the languages that I can, which is for the audio part is Spanish, Italian, French, German, I think. And then, just post it and you'll get that much more of an audience when people from those countries are searching for, in my case, Descript tutorial, and then they put on the filter for French only, then my video will pop up, which is pretty awesome. Now, I don't know how accurate it is. There might be some hilarious mistakes and stuff like that, but I've seen a slight uptick. Like I'll see like 1% of my views are coming from Italy or something. So what I was going to show you with this social media thing is you have let's say this is portrait, we're going to make a TikTok or a YouTube short. What I did, and I added this to my templates, which I also sent out. So if you already have my free templates, then you should have gotten an email from me this week that has a link to this new template. But if not, I'll put it in the chat as well. And so what you do is you can go to, where did I save it? Social Media Safe Zone. And then these are what they look like. I have a purple one and a blue one for portrait, and then I have some landscape ones for YouTube. So if you're making like just a normal long form YouTube video. And sorry, here's what they actually do. If I apply it, I'm going to go ahead and click on it to apply it. It looks like this. So the idea is this thing over on the right is where like the share button and the like button, the thumbs up, all that stuff would be. And then on the bottom is where that play bar would be. And it depends on the platform. It's going to be different on Instagram versus TikTok versus YouTube. But this is the idea. And then how you would use this is, let's say you have captions. So let me just generate some stuff here to have something to show. Say write a script, hit submit, let it write something. And this is a long one. Wow. Add to script. Okay, so there we go. I've got some stuff in there, and I'm just going to generate a voice for it as well while we're at it. And one thing I can show you right here while this is loading is you can change these speaker labels. If I click these dots to the side of my name, I can drag it around. There it is. I can drag it around and put it over the start of another paragraph, and it'll move that speaker label. And then speaker labels automatically label everything under it until the next speaker. So right now it's just one speaker, and it's just labeling it all as Ross 3. The other thing you can do here is if you click on my name and you come down where it says Ross 3, click the 3 dots, you can change the label color. I saw somebody ask about this this week. So you can change this to any of these colors here. You can make it black. You can make it purple like that. And if I show my timeline, it'll also make the sound waves that color. So you can see how that'd be useful if you have like a bunch of different guests. You could just, color code them all however you want. And you could have like standard colors, like, okay, Ross is always purple, and then whatever, Chris is always green, something like that. Okay, it's almost done. I see some of these finishing. They turn this dark blue when it's done processing, and they're that pulsing light blue when it's loading. So just gonna give that a moment. And actually I can go ahead and apply these. So I'm coming over to captions. I'm gonna just pick one of these. I like this one a lot. I find this style pretty cool. So here's the problem already. We can see that these captions are over this blue part, this border of my social media safe zone. So there's a risk when I put this onto TikTok or another platform, when somebody's watching this on their phone, the play bar and all the buttons on the bottom are going to be overlapping over my captions. So what I know I need to do is move this away from those borders, and then it's going to be safe, social media safe zone, just like that. And yeah, and then now I won't have any problems. And the way I made this was I found the number of pixels that the different platforms use, and then just made this in Canva for 1080 by 1920, and then just made the margins the correct distance from each of the sides in order to make sure that you won't run into any issues. Okay, and then let me send the link for that. That was a template. I'll go to templates. And then with templates, you have private and drive. Private is what you can share publicly, or if not publicly, you can at least just share it with anyone that's on your drive. If you have like a team of editors, then you can all have access to the drive. Private means only you will have it. No one else can see it. You can't generate a public link or anything like that. But if I go to my social media safe zone, I can click on the dots right there. I can say copy link to template, and this one's public. So yeah, you'll be able to click on it, and I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now. And then it's in the chat, and then you could open that up and then add it to your own project, assuming you're a paying member of Descript, and then use it from there. Hopefully that's useful for you. And I also have a bunch of other templates on my website. I think it should be in the description for this live stream, where you can just put in your email address, and then it emails you 10 different folders of captions. There's templates. So there's over like 110 templates at this point that you can use in your projects. Okay, let me know if any questions. Otherwise, that was also a shout out to Ian for that question. He asked about how to give the border around the social media projects. The next one was how to auto level entire recording versus individual clips. This is a question from Steve. And so if you, this one depends on if it's in a sequence or not, as so many things do. Let me convert these to audio. By the way, when you generate something using the AI voice, you can see that it's like this dark blue. So that lets me know that that's an AI voice. And it's sort of in draft mode until I click this convert to audio button. So if I try to grab any of the words here, I can't move it. If I try to get the bracket, there is no bracket. I can't change like where this clip begins or ends until I click this convert to audio button. Now it's like a real sound file, and I get the bracket. I can grab some words to change where they're positioned, like just treat it like a normal sound file after it's been converted. So yeah, I always point that out because that's a common common stumbling block. Okay, so yeah, auto leveling. So now that that's been converted, that's another thing I couldn't have done until I convert it. I right click on it, and notice the clip is, so this is another thing I get questions about a lot, is what is a clip? A clip is like just any part that's isolated from your video. So this little blue section here, that's a clip. So I have that clip selected. I right click on it, say auto level clip. It's leveling, it's letting me know it's loading. Usually this is like really quick, just takes a second. Okay, and if you saw, the sound waves got a little bigger on just that little part. So that is auto leveling just that individual clip. Now, if this was in a sequence, I could go into, I can't detach because it's not part of. So what I could have done is, before splitting it up into a clip, is I could have auto leveled the entire file when it was all one piece. What I could also do is go to project. Oh, and it's going to be under overdub. Okay, this isn't going to work because it's an AI generated. But let me show you with a normal voice recording, like a human voice. So let me turn off everything. I'm just going to record. That's fine, doesn't matter. I'll just pick any microphone. And I'll say record into new layer. Nope, I don't want my screen. Record new layer. Sorry, this is really laggy. I think I'm just overtaxing my computer with all the different programs I'm running. Oh, screen recording permissions required. Okay, I'm not doing a screen recording. Record new layer. There we go. Okay, test, test, test. This is my audio that I'm about to auto level. Even though it's only 5 seconds long, you'll get the idea of how this works. Stop. And then it's going to show up in my projects. The projects file is where all of the files that make up your project are going to live, including the ones that you record yourself. So the one that I just made is called Descript Mastery Audio Recording right there. And let's see here. Let's give this a moment. So what I can do is do create sequence, even though it's just one file. And now it's in its own sequence. Oh, and I don't even have audio in there. But I can still show you how this would work if there was audio in there. Is inside of the sequence, I click on the layer and I click auto level clip, and that levels the clip. So that's what you're looking for inside of the sequence, is where you can do the entire file at once, right there. So yeah, hopefully that helps. And that's it for the questions that I had from throughout the week. Is there anything that anyone on the call has? Any questions you want me to go over? My demo, every week I tell myself I'm gonna do some prep and have some like projects where I can show these properly set up, and then I end up having to just make up things on the fly because I don't prepare enough. But yeah, if you have questions, that helps too. Then we can just do it live. Okay. I could talk about the rest of my templates and how to use those. I'm trying to think if I have any new ones. Those are the same from the course. Oh, I made this. This template's kind of cool. I used it on the recent version 96 video, where there's a progress bar on the bottom. So as I'm talking about each topic, there's a progress bar, and I'm going to show you how it works. This will make more sense. So I'm just going to click on it. And again, this is on my templates pack. So if you already have it, you can, oh, and I'm applying it to a portrait video. This isn't going to work. I'll have to undo that in a second. So if you already have my templates pack, then you can just refresh the page. It's under the Descript Mastery templates. And then you'll need to bring it into your own drive again in order to get the updated ones. But that's where it lives. And so the way it works, and actually, you know what? I'm just gonna pull up the video that I actually made because it'll be easier to show it on a real video. So I'm gonna go back to my projects view, and it was version 96. There it is. Okay, in the chat, when I do screen recording inside of a project, I have trouble getting the screen recording to open on my desktop. Do you mean the prompt where it asks you to choose the part of your screen you want to record? Or do you mean the file that you actually recorded? Like which part? I'm trouble getting the screen recording. I'll go over it in a second and maybe it'll help what you're looking for. But so here's the project I made a couple days ago. And you can see I have markers on the left side. So this was based off of the changelog, this here. And so there's like update number 1, update number 2. And so in my project, I made each of those a marker. And then the way that this template worked, if I click on one of these, it'll scroll me to that point in the video. So I just made it like update 3 and then like what that update was. And then this template, I'm going to play it as soon as this loads. Show you how many of your outlook. So what that template does is it turns this title layer into the previous marker. So in this case, the marker for this section of the video was this one that says update 3, monitor your AI usage. And then that stays on the screen for a couple seconds. Located monthly AI usages you've used. Now I'm on the creator legacy plan, so I have unlimited usage of both Underlord Basic and Underlord Advanced. Actually, but depending on what your plan you're on, I forgot it stays on the screen. So it stays on the screen throughout that entire marker until the next marker, then it'll change to the text from that marker. And along with it, behind it, there's a loading bar, that progress bar. It's white, so it's kind of hard to see. I probably should have picked better colors. But yeah, so it worked perfect for this. And you've probably seen this effect if you've ever seen that ESPN show where they're talking about like highlights from the week and then they have 60 seconds. Like that's kind of what I was going for with that. So that template's on my pack now. Okay, concerning screen recording, let me go into a new composition. So the screen recording will look different based on if you're on the web or on the desktop. So that could be the issue you're having. If you record from the web and you enable the screen sharing, this is what the view you get. And let me just check the live stream that you're able to see this. There's quite a delay on the live stream, so I'm not sure if you can see this. But I'm just gonna keep going forward. You can choose your window, or in my case, Brave. That's the browser I have open. So I could choose the Brave tab that I want to select. So if I wanted to show live streaming YouTube Studio, then I could select that, and it would just show that window. On the window here, this would select the entire window, separate from a tab. It's the broader category. And then entire screen would just be screen 1, screen 2. I have 2 screens. So that's different than on the desktop. On the desktop, when you click record screen, it gives you the option to like select a specific part of the screen. Maybe I can pull it up. Let me see. Pulling up my web or my desktop app right now. One moment. Actually, you know what? my system's already taxed. Maybe that's not a good idea. Yeah, and an application not responding. Great. Okay, so that might be what you're running into. Like were you used to one app and then maybe you're using the other one? Let me know in the comments like what exactly you're getting stuck on. And then in the comments, the segment on adding music was not clear to me. Is there a video that gives more detail and step-by-step clear examples for beginners? So I could do that again. I could show again. So here's the music thing in the bottom, and at any point you can add the music. So I have a completely blank project right now. If I go to this music at the bottom, here's the music section, and then there's sound effects below that. You can also use the search bar, so you can type in like a genre of music, or if there's a specific song you found in the past, you can use that. Or you can hit show all, and this has your entire list of music here. You can preview any of these by clicking the play button. And then if you like it, you can just hit the plus button, and that'll import it. And in just a moment here, show timeline, and here we go. So this green layer is the music layer. We can see it's got the sound waves, and it looks just like that. Now, because my scene was only 5 seconds long, it's only going to play for 5 seconds and then cut off. So what I can do to extend that is put my mouse on the end there, on that, get that bracket, and then click and drag it to the right to extend it. And I could keep zooming right, or scrolling to the right and keep pushing that music layer so it's longer. But what's easier is to zoom out like so, and then extend. And the zoom out again is command and then scroll up or down to zoom in or out. But I'm gonna get that bracket, keep extending it, and it's only gonna let me go as far as this. Okay, that's as far as it goes. That's the full length of the music there. Again, you won't always have to do that. If your video is already longer than the length of this soundtrack, it'll just automatically add the full soundtrack. The reason I had to do that was because I have a blank project and it only had a 5-second scene, so it only put in 5 seconds to that music. But anyways, that's how you add the music. If there's another part you're stuck on, then yeah, I have made other videos, including like all my tutorials that are from like start to finish how to use Descript. So you could check out any of those. But yeah, let me know if there's something else I can show in that regard. If I click on this music layer, then I'll be able to edit the properties for it by going to layer, and here's the audio. So currently it's at 0 decibels. It's just the standard default volume level. I could take what I showed before was how I make it negative. I went to -25, and that makes it where it's just barely audible so that it's not overpowering the person speaking, which you don't want, obviously. And usually somewhere between like -20 and -25 is about right. There it is, nice and soft. So yeah, so from there you can even mute it with this speaker icon right there. That'll just click on that. When it has the cross through it, it's completely muted, and then that layer is just going to be there in the background and you're not going to hear it at all. You can apply different audio effects to it. If it was like, it wouldn't make much sense to do to these stock recordings, but there are these different audio effects like EQ. You can change the EQ, add a reverb to it, things like that. Let's see here. Yeah, let me know if there's something else I can answer about adding music. If you're adding your own music, then you can drag in something. You can drag and drop the file off of your desktop, or you can go to project. Again, project is where all the files from your entire project are going to live. And you can see I have all these different recordings from when I made this video here, and they're just called Descript Mastery Video Recording. But even when you add stock media is Descript's stuff. So there's that music file that I added. It automatically gets placed in the project files so that I'm aware it's in my project. As well as sequences. Those all get there. So in the chat, is there a way to speed up a speaker's recorded portion just a little bit? He. Oh, had a guest. Okay, a guest that talked very slowly. Yeah. So I'll show you on this soundtrack because the principle is the same on this music track. So you select in my case, music layer. In your case, your guests layer. And with it selected, go to layer. And then right here where it says duration. So by default, it's at 1x. It's going to play at normal speed. What you could do is type in 0.9. And that's going to make it just barely like 10% slower. So that's the first option. If there's just a specific part you want to make slower, like instead of just making the whole thing slower, you want to just make like one sentence, then I would suggest you select this range tool, and then you could highlight that specific sentence, and then same thing, change the duration, so you can make it like 0.8x, and that's going to make it just a touch slower, just for that particular part. I'll just undo those. But that's what you're looking for, is the duration section. And then yeah, just select the specific part. You can also, here, let me show you on another video. I'll duplicate this. So what you could also do is highlight, like I said, just like one sentence. And wow, there's no punctuation in there. That's weird. Well, that's okay. I'll just say, let's say this is my sentence. Now that I have it selected, I can go to duration, and then right there, make it 0.8. And now it's going to, just to that part that I had highlighted, it's going to slow it down to 0.8x of its original playback speed. So Descript announced was that in 2 weeks, they're going to add what's called... It sounds a little slow motion-y, but if someone's not paying close attention, that would probably slip by. And even better, I could go to 0.9 and it would be barely distinguishable. But that's how to do it. That's the easiest way. And you can get more granular with it if you make a clip out of it or something, but I think that's probably all you need. Any other questions? We got 7 minutes left. And I'm out of my talking points. Terry, if you're still here, let me know if you're stuck on the music still. Happy to go deeper in that. I know it was super fast, and let me think on my channel. I'd say the tutorials are probably the best starting point for that. Let me just real quick, and please drop any questions you have in the chat. I added a new thing to my website, this start here. So this is descriptmastery.com, and this is kind of, the idea with this is it's a 10-step guide to get you going with Descript, and it links to different resources of mine. So certain days better to, your comment is getting cut off in, are there certain days better to release YouTube podcasts than others? So the answer to that depends on your channel, on your audience. And YouTube actually has a way to show you. Let me pull on my side. I can show you what this looks like. Okay. So this is my YouTube studio. And if you go to analytics on the left side, and then audience, and then you scroll down, you get this data here that shows you when your audience is most active. Oops, and am I frozen? Minutes left. Okay, the live stream is just super behind real time. So I got your question like 3 minutes ago by the time you see this. But yeah, so go to analytics inside of YouTube Studio, audience, and then down here there's this box that says when your viewers are on YouTube. And the brighter the section, the more viewers you have on at that time, the more it's recommended to release. So it's going to be different for you than it is for me, than it is for somebody in Europe or somebody in Asia or something like that, based on their particular audience. So yeah, and you can see I have a third-party app, which actually isn't even connected to my Descript channel, but this thing that says TubeBuddy recommendations, that's an app that gives you even more insight into when you should post. So like it's saying Sunday 11 a.m., Monday 10 a.m., etc. But you don't have to have that tool in order to see this purple part, or it might be a different color if you're on light mode. But anyways, enough about that. Back to what I was showing on descriptmastery.com. This is my like getting started guide. So this is from step 1, don't even have Descript, never used it before. Then this is what you can get, or how to get it, how to get started. And then step 2 is, creating your very first project, adding your media, transcribing your files. Step 4, editing the transcript, add more media, all the way down to step 9, publishing, and then step 10, deeper on using Descript, which of course I'm going to pitch, is my course, and descriptmastery.com/course if you want to learn about that. Is there a way to decide which screen you want to record, is a question in the chat. And before I answer that, I'm going to go back to the release time real quick. So Rod, yes, you won't have this view until you have, I don't know what the minimum is, but even for me with 1,000 subscribers, like that's nothing in the grand scheme of YouTube. So all of this data I take with a grain of salt, because there's not enough data. If I had like tens of thousands of subscribers, then there'd be a lot more information for the Google algorithm to give me information with. But and I mentioned about once I added translations, I'm starting to get other languages listening to me. Check that out. 2.5% of my views in the last 28 days have been French or Spanish speakers, because I uploaded the translations for those subtitles. Pretty cool. Okay. So yeah. So what I'm getting at with as a beginner is post at a time that works for you, and then as the data comes in, then you can change down the road. Okay, back to your question, Anna. A way to decide which screen you want to record. Yeah, and I showed this a moment ago with the web version. It's going to be different if you're on the web version or the desktop version, but I'm on the web version, which is probably recommended for most people now. I used to not, but with recent updates, it's better for most people. When you select, let me go back. When you go to record and you hit this thing right here to enable the screen recording, it asks me, and let me just check that you're able to see this on the live stream. Okay, you should be able to. So there's the Brave tab, the window, or the entire screen. And you specifically asked about which screen you want to record. So here's where you do that. There's my screen 1, which you can't see on the live stream, but that's my YouTube live stream and my OBS. And then screen 2 is the one that I'm showing right now. And yeah, I could just choose it like that, screen 1, screen 2. Or if you had screen 3, screen 4, you could choose that here. If you're on the desktop version, it's gonna look different. It's gonna, when you select record screen, it's gonna give you this thing where you can select a specific part. You can drag from like top left corner to bottom right corner what part of the screen you want to record. And then you'll have to hit record again to actually start the recording. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if any questions about that. Otherwise, we're at the hour. So thank you for participating. Thank you for the questions. I'll be back at the same time next week. Talk to you then.